absolutely have to share with you the experience that I had in Poland over the last few days. Let me just correct this for a second. Much better. Okay, so I was doing a training, as you know, of 3 days in Poland, franchise sales, agent training, broker training. Unbelievable experience. I will get into that in a different video because there's a lot to share and a lot to document. But yesterday I just had this revelation about the power of art, the power of cinema in this case, and how it can affect life. So I'm in Krakow. Okay, now I've been to many cities where there are Jewish museums and Jewish history, especially around Eastern Europe, and, Warsaw and Katowice, and of course Berlin. And I have to tell you honestly, I've never went to these places because I don't know why. It's not something to be proud of. It's actually something to be embarrassed of. But maybe it's because we get overdosed with the heritage of the Holocaust since we're little kids. We learn about it in school. We have the Memorial Day for the Holocaust. We stand for 1 minute of silence, and we have all these lesson plans and visits to Yad Vashem. So perhaps when I don't want to say we. I want to talk in the name of other people who are probably much more mature than me. But when I go abroad, I sometimes try to shy away from the Jewish angle, even when I go to places that are, full of history. So, Krakow is the city from Schindler's List, which, if you've seen my videos, and if you've seen all of them, which is quite a task, I would have to say, is one of my, I wouldn't say favorite, because favorite is like a happy fun movie. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen, one of the most influential movies I've ever seen, and I see it almost every Holocaust day in Israel, this year as well, even though it's 3 hours, and it's actually taking place over there. It's actually was filmed in Krakow. So I have a half day yesterday, and I say I want to go to the Jewish quarter. So my great hosts from Remax Poland show me the direction to the ancient Jewish quarter, and really you can see all the street names, the synagogues, and I even stumbled upon a museum of Galician Jews, which Galicia is basically where Krakow was in older times. And unbelievable exhibit, the pictures, the documentation of the persecution, of the first steps towards the Holocaust, of the transfers to Auschwitz, Plaszow, the concentration camp that was run by Imon Gad, who is also a big character in Schindler's List. It's all coming to life with these pictures and this great exhibit. And then I realized that I'm not actually where the Jewish ghetto was. That was the Jewish neighborhood where the Jews lived when they still had freedom and could live their life. But apparently when they were taken into the ghetto, they were taken across the Wisla River and into a neighborhood just to the south, where the ghetto was. Now that was just unbelievable, because the hotel where I did the training, the hotel where I was sleeping for 3 days, was the northern border of the Jewish ghetto, the ghetto that survived for 2 years until it was liquidated and all the Jews were sent to concentration camp. The same ghetto that appears in Schindler's List, including Schindler's factory, the enamel factory. It's all freaking there, 2 seconds away from my hotel. Now I didn't have the time, when I got to this revelation, I didn't have the time to properly tour the old ghetto and to try to see the relics and the old walls that still exist and so on. But just it's not a coincidence even. It's the connection. It's like, of all the hotels in Krakow, it's a big city, there are many hotels. Remax Poland chose to run this convention. Of course, there's no connection, right? It's not done consciously. Chose to run this convention right at the northern top corner of the Jewish ghetto. That's where I spent these 3 days. For me, first of all, again, it's a huge lesson in the power of cinema and the power of art and how art influences life. Because in all these cities that I traveled to, and I never went to see, the Jewish experience, because of Schindler's List, because I know it was there and it's live to me. And again, that's just my bugs. Other people who are much more in-depth and intelligent would probably do a much more comprehensive tour. But it's like, it feels familiar. So I was triggered into watching the Jewish experience there. And again, it's unbelievable, the sheer evil that was surrounding them. And actually, when Galicia was under Hungarian rule, apparently the Jews were a big part of the community, not only, you know, in industrial life and commercial life, which is a stereotype of Jews, but also in the army. And Jews fought hard in World War I, shoulder to shoulder with the Germans and the Austro-Hungarians, even getting as high as generals. There's a whole documentation in that museum about a general called Gyula Bauer, who was one of the best commanders ever in the Hungarian army. So the Jews were actually intertwined into society until, of course, the Nazi party took power. And then you see all these atrocities done to the Jews in that area, to the Jews in Krakow specifically, that had 56,000 Jews before, let's say, the final steps, or the beginning and the final steps of the Holocaust. So that's one lesson. It's the power of evil, it's the power of cinema, and how you can change your perspective on small things or big things when you're influenced and inspired by enough sources. Some of them are artistic. And the other thing is, for me, and I told you that in a different video, for me, you know, I'm a small comma, a minuscule, microscopic comma in the history of Judaism, in the history of mankind. You know, one person doesn't count too much, but we all make our small contributions to the world. It's called in Judaism tikkun. We all make a tikkun, okay? And to be training for Remax Poland, in Poland, 70 plus years after the Holocaust, a Jewish trainer in Krakow, on the border of the Jewish ghetto. You know, I'm not a huge patriot, and I'm a left-wing liberal, and I don't go with a flag anywhere and so on, but for me it's a victory. It's a victory any way you interpret it. It's a victory of survival, of growth, and of the endurance of a country, of a nation, of a religion that was sentenced to death, survived, flourished, and came back. By the way, Krakow is a beautiful city, and if there's one place I know for sure I'm going to come back to, whether it's going to be in a professional hat or a personal hat, I'm going to be back in Krakow. I was amazed by this city, and I have so much more exploring to do, and I want to thank Remax Poland again for this great opportunity. So thank you, Eva and Adam. It was great.